Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome or welcome back to Soap Lore. I hope you are ready to continue our quest of dramatic arts through the Soap Lore Society for the Dramatic Arts, or whatever we should call it. Go ahead and reach out to your girl in the show notes or via email and let me know what you think. What's up, party people? Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. We're going to jump right back into my film review of All About Eve. Intriguing, hilarious, incredibly quotable, and possibly one of the best films I've seen all year. There's a lot to jump into this episode, so go ahead and pour yourself up something bubbly and bright. Well, maybe not bubbly this time. I do believe the beverage of this film is a martini. Pull it up, make yourself a cute little charcuterie board, and let's dive back into this film. Is it better to have an honest enemy or fake friends? Are the two one and the same? I don't think they are. This portion of the film explores the nuances in everyone's relationship. How close are we all to losing it? Also, is admiration a form of flattery or is it a tool for domination? Either way, baby, we're going to have a good time. So, buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride as we jump back into 1950s All About Eve. I'm certain none of you listening, unless we have people in their 80s, and if so, thank you. Welcome to Soap Lore. I'm sure you don't understand or remember a time where the operator had to call you, but this is par for the course here. So Margot is deep in a coma-like sleep when her phone begins to ring. She wakes up. It is midnight. What the actual, or it's probably later than midnight. It's midnight in LA, which means on the West Coast it's what? I mean, on the East Coast it's like 2 or 3, something like that. Anyway, she picks up the phone and it's the operator saying, "Hi, this is your scheduled phone call." She's like, "Scheduled? What?" Operator ain't got time for that. She got calls to connect. She connects the call and it's Bill. Bill, baby, what you doing? It's definitely 3 a.m. Shout out to the filmmakers for putting the clocks in the line of sight. It's 3. Bill is like, "Oh my God, this is so sweet. I can't believe you're so thoughtful." She's like, "Am I tripping?" The operator said, "Yeah, this is the call you placed at midnight." She has no idea what he's talking about. "Bill, baby, when are you coming back?" He's like, "Oh, I'll be back in about a week. The thing's wrapped up. They're already doing the previews and stuff. This is just, oh my God. I can't wait to get back to New York. I'm so tired of being trapped in a tin can all day. It has been horrible." She's like, "I don't care how you get here quick. I want you home." And she's like, "Okay, cool." She's thinking, okay, he must have called me. And the operator got confused. So she's like, "All right." She's like, "Oh my God, it's 3 o'clock. I'm so tired." And then it hits her. She's like, "Oh my God. It's midnight where you're at. It's 3 where I am. It's your birthday, isn't it?" He's like, "Yeah." That's why he's all happy. He's thinking she remembered it was his birthday, was thoughtful enough to stay up to give him a call. She's kind of blowing up her own spot. And she's like, "We'll have to do a little something for you for your birthday when you come back." He's like, "Oh, well, I mean, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I already know all about it. Eve told me. Eve and I have been chitting. Now, this is the first time that Margot has heard anything about a birthday party or the fact that Bill and Eve have been chittering over the telephone. Because this seemed like this the first time she's heard from him. She's like, "Oh, it's 3 in the morning, though." So she's going to go on and go back to that bed after she has a fresh cigarette to soothe her back. Need that good nicotine coma. So the next morning, she has the breakfast of champions brought into her by her homegirl Bertie. It is an ice cold cigarette. Looks like some juice. And a little bit of tea. It is abundantly clear in the next scene why she eats so little, and I'm going to have to respect her wishes because it paid off. But she's sitting up in the bed having a breakfast cigarette, and she says, "Bird, I want you to tell me something. You don't like Eve, do you?" Bertie's like, "This feels like a setup, so do you want me to say no, or do you want me to say the truth?" Margot's like, "I mean, what's not to like? She's loyal, she's efficient, she does so well." And Bertie's like, "Yeah, it's like she's your agent, you're her only client." And Margot's like, "Well, what's wrong with that? I'm the only person she thinks about." She's like, "That's what I'm saying. It ain't like you're not just the only person she thinks about. It's like she's, God, it's like she's studying you. It's like she's a skin crawler. Everything you do, she wants to be just like you. No sooner than Birdie says that, in walks Eve in a freshly tailored skirt suit. She looks good. She looks damn good. And she should, because as Margot's old suit, she's like, girl, I hope you don't mind. I took it in here. I had to let it out there. And she's taking care of her schedule. She's doing all those things now. Well, Eve is suddenly uncomfortable. Excuse me. Margot is suddenly uncomfortable. She's like, hey, by any chance, did you place a call to Bill last night, like at midnight? Eve says, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to tell you about it. I'm so sorry. I was sure that you'd want to talk to him on his birthday, and you've been so busy the last few days. I didn't have a chance to tell you. And then last night, you went out and I went to bed, so we just missed each other. I'm so sorry. I was just trying to make you look good, girl. I'm just trying to set you up with your man. Margot starts to loosen up a little bit. Breakfast Siggy's about halfway done. She's like, yeah, you're right. That was a good look. But what about this birthday party I'm hearing about? She's like, well, like I said, I'm trying to make you look good. So we got it all set up. Don't you worry about anything. I'm going to take care of everything. And then she slides out of the door. Now, when she slides out of the door, this is my favorite scene in this whole movie, I swear. When Eve slides out the door, Birdie, who's been standing by the dresser this whole time, is just standing there. Margot looks over to Birdie. Birdie don't say a word, but she says so much. She just simply turns on her heel, does a full spin, and before she closes the door, she makes eye contact one more time with Margot, like, what'd I tell you? What did I tell you? Ladies and gentlemen, the film kicks in the third gear here. 'Tis the night of Bill's arrival from Hollywood off of his silver screen directorial debut. Margot has one of the thickest dresses made. I love everything about this dress. I wish I knew what color it is. I don't have to wish. I'm going to look up all this information after the fact just so I can store it in my brain. It is gorgeous. It's off the shoulder, but it's got like, I'm calling them cummerbund sleeves and then poof sleeves. So it's like you get the off the shoulder, you get the long sleeves or 3/4 sleeves. Right at the elbow, it's got this big jewel and fur, and the armpits is out. So she ain't gonna pit out on her dress. She looks so good. Her waist is all of 2.5 inches, which is why she drinks ice water and a cold cigarette for breakfast. But she's putting the last touches on her look because she thinks Bill ain't made it yet. Only Birdie walks in and they're having small talk. And she's like, well, girl, hurry up before Bill gets here. Birdie says, Bill been here. Bill been downstairs for 20 minutes talking to guess who. That's all she needs to say. Margot takes the last little bit of her martini to the head, casually walks out of the door, closes it, and then runs down the stairs. She got to hurry up and get to her man, which means him and Eve, because now 1 + 1 is 2, and 2 + 1 is Eve. That's one too many people in this scenario for her. So she's going to run up on Bill and let him know what's what. It's not enough to just run up on him. After all, this is his surprise party or birthday party. It seems like it was the only a surprise to Margot. But she needs to make her rounds around the room so that he can see her, and she needs to see that he sees that she is very upset. When she gets to the foot of the stairs, she can see Bill with his leg up on an ottoman, talking to Eve, who is sitting on said ottoman in a sort of Captain Morgan pose. Bill is. This does not sit well with Margot. Oh, Eve, would you go check on the hors d'oeuvres? Sends her away and then slowly makes her way around the room, pretending not to be bothered, just hard enough that he knows that she's bothered. The dynamic between these two is, oh my God, it's amazing. And I can't even do it justice. The dialogue is wordy and clever, and the whips just keep coming. Boom, boom, boom. Margot's whole thing is, how are you and Eve? You look awfully chummy with Eve. He's like, yeah, she was excited to hear about LA. She wanted to hear all about the movie. Well, I didn't know you were here. I've been waiting upstairs for you. He's like, oh, yeah, I've been here about 20 minutes. But I ran into Eve on my way to see you, and she said that you were getting dressed. Margot's bothered by this because she's like, that has never stopped you before. So for the first time, she has allowed her mind to fully go there. It's one thing to set up a birthday call to my man on the West Coast to wish him a happy birthday at midnight. I can believe, for all intents and purposes, that you did that for the benefit of me. But to sit and keep my man company downstairs is unforgivable. So now Eve has an invisible target all up and down her back. Bill thinks this is ridiculous because he keeps referring to Eve as a kid. She's a doe-eyed kid who's marching in the shadow of her idol. That's all she is. All she talks about is you. She's never said anything even remotely sideways to me. Margot's insecurities are bubbling to the surface. She's bringing up her age again. She's like, oh, all you talk about is how fair and how wonderful and how nice and how confident and how committed Eve is to me. Seems like you're a little bit too interested in all her qualities, don't you think? And he's like, girl, if you don't calm all the way down. She's like, I'm not going to calm down because you're acting guilty. He's like, I'm not acting guilty. I'm acting annoyed. If you want me to comfort you, guess what, baby girl? You got another thing coming. I'm going to enjoy this here party. And you can walk around being pissed off. And another thing, I'm sick of this whole age thing. You're always talking about how old you are, how young somebody is, and you think I'm looking at little girls. He's got a point. He keeps calling Eve a kid. Bill doesn't seem to be picking up what Eve may or may not be putting down. Doesn't really matter. Before I go too far, I cannot stress this enough. I cannot do this theme justice. The writing on this is incredible. If you're a wordy person, if you like beautiful poetic language, then you'll love it when Bill tells her, in an effort to stop her from attacking Eve and him, he says, so when you start judging an idealistic, dreamy-eyed by the barroom, Benzedrine standards of a megalomaniac society. Oh, come on, words. Come on. It is beautiful. Their chemistry is just wonderful. But the long and short of it, Margot is now suspicious. She thinks Eve is up to something. Bill thinks she is tripping. He's used to her being dramatic, but he's like, you being a little too dramatic in this. And I'm not going to ever give you the satisfaction of getting upset about this. Grow up, grow up, grow up. So the other party goers start coming, including Karen and Lloyd. So Margot's living room is sort of sunken. There's about 4 steps, and then you're in her living room. She's turning to go up those 4 steps to the floor where the stairs to go upstairs are. But she walks over to those 3 or 4 steps. She turns to her friends and says, fasten your seatbelt. Going to be a bumpy night. I've heard this in other movies. I did not realize they were quoting her, or she could be quoting somebody, but all right, so let's speed this up a little bit. She's having martini after martini after martini, so many that she is wasted at the piano with the piano player, insisting that he plays the most funeral-y music that he can muster. He's tired of it. It's 5 or 6 times he's played the same song. He tries to live up the place, trying to get Rump shaken. She don't want that. She's like, please play this drab music. I'm feeling depressed. It reminds me of the early days of texting when your girlfriends would get drunk. You're like, girl, give me your phone. You can't keep listening to sad music. You can't keep doing this. But she's insisting that we keep the mood drab because that is where she is. I assume these are the theatrics everyone was talking, or Karen and Lloyd were talking about. Bill comes over, still not appeasing her, still not giving her any extra comfort, basically telling her to grow up. He says, people are starting to wonder where the body is. She's basically like, it's me. But in this moment, she realizes she's got to do something. If Eve is no longer her sister, friend, lawyer, or whatever, then is she my enemy? Do I need to be looking over my shoulder? As far as she's concerned, it's all about Bill at the moment, not about Eve, but she's got to do something to get rid of Eve. So Max Fabian, surprise, surprise, has even more indigestion. He asks her if she's tried a little something before. She's like, yeah, meet me in the kitchen. In the kitchen, she comes up with this scheme to release Eve from her domestic duties. Say, hey, Max, I think you should hire Eve. She would be amazing with your actor. She can read all the scripts. She could filter through them. She'll tell you what's popping and what's not. She has an incredible love for the theater. I think she'd be a huge asset. I really don't want to step on any toes, Margot. This is your girl. Like, I feel like this is where she belongs. She goes, no, you don't need to do that. Go ahead and give her a job. I feel like I'm just holding her back. He's like, okay, cool. She goes, and to do you a solid, I'm going to help Marilyn Monroe learn some of her lines. I'll come read with her just to see if she is up to par. So Marilyn Monroe's character it's very brief. So she's an up-and-coming starlet, but she's being very, very obvious. Who she comes with is none other than Addison DeWitt. Karen and Lloyd, because they're so close to her, can tell that something has gone down. So by the time they arrive, they're like, okay, are you starting a mood or are you ending a mood? We just need to know so we know how to proceed going forward. The whole room knows how this woman operates. This is not cool because Margot didn't invite him. Maybe she did, maybe she's a little snocker, but she ain't feeling him and she definitely doesn't have any filter sober. She sure enough doesn't have one drunk. She says, Addison, the hell are you doing in my house? He's like, well, I'm introducing this brand new starlet. She just graduated from blah, blah, blah. Sends Marilyn Monroe on her way to go talk to Heartburn Boy. Eve comes down the steps at this moment, looking regal and lovely and poised. She's got the Stepford wife thing down to a science. She doesn't blink too much. She moves very slowly. She speaks very slowly. Everything she does is dripping with adoration. Addison takes note. Huh, that's interesting. Who's this? Interesting. They're basically being shady to each other the whole time while Eve and Marilyn Monroe are kind of chiming in. Marilyn is like, girl, don't even worry about talking to him. He's not gonna let you get a word in edgewise. But the introduction is made, and it seems like he has kind of had his eye on her. He knows who she is. He probably saw her hanging out at the theater. That's my only thought, because she hasn't really been somebody for very long. She's only been with Margot for about a month at this point. What a difference 4 weeks makes. Despite Margot being lit, there's a lot of truth that is bubbling up in between the scheme. Lloyd comes into the kitchen after Max leaves and they start chatting. She can tell that he's disappointed that she's drunk and he's explaining to her, girl, I'm not really judging you like that. I just wish I knew why you let yourself get this way. Not the drunk part, but the woe is me part. She asked him about the new play he's writing. He's like, oh, it's coming along wonderful. Apparently, they've been partnered up for quite a while. She wants to know if the lead, Cora, is still a girl in her 20s. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, she's 20 something, but that's not important. You are ageless. She goes, I ain't ageless. I ain't 20. I ain't 30. I just turned 40. Apparently, no one knew this. I don't know how old Betty Davis is in this film. I'm not gonna speculate, but I suspect more than 40. Really shouldn't matter, but she keeps bringing it up. She seems to be hung up on this age thing. And when she gets in these drunk moods, it kind of puts everybody else down too. The reality is that he is writing a character that is significantly younger than her. And it seems like she just kind of wants to spread her wings. It's wearing thin. It's getting harder and harder to play, not skill wise, but mentally. He is once again perplexed, like, girl, what are you talking about? You personally, you, Margot, bring in thousands and thousands of people each week. Why are you tripping about this? This is such a trivial thing. You're an actress, for crying out loud. Act like a 20-year-old. She brings up the fact that Bill is only 32 and he's looked that way for a very long time. So it's one of two things. She's either bored with the material that her very, very good friend is writing for her and wants something more exciting, something that is a little bit more complimentary of a woman of age. Nobody wants to be successful playing something that they're not over and over and over again, whether you're an actress or not. But also, perhaps she's upset because Bill is younger. So while Lloyd is comforting Margot downstairs, Eve is upstairs with Karen, who's getting ready to leave. Karen is really, really pleased at how happy Eve is. She's actually happy that Margot has been so kind to her. Everything's working out. She feels like she did a good deal. But okay, so the whole reason that Marilyn Monroe's character, whose name is Claudia, needed to see Max Fabian is because in the play, which is called Aged in Wood, Margot's character has a little sister. The actress who plays the little sister is pregnant and she's going to go on maternity leave soon, so they need to replace her. Claudia, Marilyn Monroe, would like the part. We, the film audience, know that Margot has made a deal with Max Fabian that he is going to hire Eve and Margot will come in and read with Claudia. But upstairs, Eve is making her own deal. She is talking to the playwright's wife, who already enjoys her, who already knows how much she loves a play. And this is an opportunity. So she's like, hey, do you think maybe, just maybe, I could maybe read for the part of the sister? Karen's like, that is a lovely idea, Eve. Absolutely. I will talk to Max Fabian for you. So let's keep this straight. This is where it starts to get different. I'm assuming this is where all these arrows come from. Margot and Fabian's deal is that she will read with Marilyn Monroe, aka Claudia. Karen's deal with Eve is that she will speak to Max Fabian to make sure that she can read for that part. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where this movie turns into a soap. For whatever reason, everybody starts to congregate on the stairwell. Bill and Addison are talking about the theater and how peculiar it is to be in the theater, and it can be a little bit depressing. But Bill's like, I disagree. It's all kind of a mental game. And the best thing about being an actor is that you have to want to be the best actor. Eve is listening to this and she's getting kind of hot and bothered, honestly. But yeah, he's speaking my language, speaking to the heart of people every single night. Their emotions are yours. Their joy is yours. Their pleasure is yours because of what you're doing. You have to want it. You have to breathe it. You have to need it. This is probably the most she said out loud since she was given that song and dance about Eddie or whatever his name is. She gets so entranced that she kind of gets beside herself. Now Addison is speaking to her. Bill still ain't really paying no attention. And by this time, Margot comes slumming out of the kitchen and she's still in the mood. She's like, girl, stop treating me like I'm the daggone queen. She's drunk and it's very unpleasant. Started verbally attacking everyone, calling everybody busy little bees and whatnot. Again, as much as I'd like to, I'd have to watch this about 4 or 5 times to get the dialogue perfect for you. It is worth its watch, okay? The point is, theater is an interesting trap for some, an interesting escape for others, and a doorway to something else for others still. It don't really matter because this final little stunt has really pissed Karen off. See, Karen has been cool with Margot for a very long time. She puts up with her little slick mouth. But this right here is a lot because now she feels like you always talking sideways about my husband's work, about how it's not quite good enough. He needs to do better, write better things for you. And now you're starting to pick on Eve. And now you're lashing out at everybody. This is Bill's party. It leaves a sour taste in Karen's mouth. So it makes it really, really easy to reach out to Max Fabian to see about hooking the girl up. Once the dragon lady finally goes all the way upstairs, Eve allows herself just a moment to break down. She can't believe that Margot would do this in front of everybody. Like, oh my God, what did I do? I swear, Karen, I'm trying to be the best help I can. I swear I've never done anything. I don't know why she's lashing out at me. Karen says, girl, don't even trip. This is just what she does. She's always doing this. So flash forward to later on. Margot, I got a little bit confused. Margot's understudy is pregnant. The role of the sister is who Claudia, aka Marilyn Monroe, was reading for. Eve was not reading for that one. So when Margot shows up, she sees Addison sitting outside smoking a cigarette, and she's like, well, why are you here? Why the long face? I figured you'd be sitting by your girl trying to coach her to success. And he goes, well, where she is now, I can't coach her through anything. She's in the can, hurling her guts out. She's like, oh, that's so tragic. She's like, oh, okay, don't worry about that. Vomiting before an audition is very good luck. She'll be fine once the audition starts. And he goes, oh, Margot, the audition is over. She's like, over? He says, yeah, it was for 2:30. It's almost 4 o'clock now. She's like, dang, I should probably start wearing a watch. Well, who read with her? Because that was what Margot was there to do. Addison, with a little too much pleasure, says, well, you're understudy. Margot's confused. She's like, I hardly doubt a pregnant woman would be reading with her. She goes, no, I mean Eve. Eve is your understudy. This is once again news to Margot. What do you mean she's my understudy? And how come nobody told me? Well, now she's toe up. She's good and mad. And to add insult to injury, Addison, the theater critic, says, oh, baby, she was good too. She was fantastic. Might want to watch her fur-lined Bacchus thing. And she's like, oh, okay, it's like that? Bet. She can't help herself. And she says, well, did Bill think she was amazing? Because I don't know if Bill did, but Lloyd, oh my God, it was like a revelation to him. His words had new life, youth. It was just amazing. So the pot is stirred. Addison knows what he's doing. He has respect for Margot, you can tell, but also this is entertaining. Marilyn Monroe comes out of the can. She looks like she's about to faint, and Margot looks like she could spit nails. In my second favorite scene of this movie, she proceeds to stunt. She walks through the theater with her fur coat. She sees Max Fabian. She makes sure that she flares it out so it'll drip over his face. She saunters onto the stage as if she doesn't know what's going on. Oh, hello, everyone. Hello, Bill. Hello, Lloyd. Hey, Eve. Eve, how is it at Max's office? Bill is looking at her. He knows that she knows. He can tell by her body language that she knows what's up. Eve looks nervous. Lloyd looks nervous. She looks at Max and says, Max, I hope you're not working this child too hard, using words like child, kid, baby, sweetie. Lloyd and Bill inform her that the audition is over And she goes, oh, well, that's strange. Well, who read? Eve, your understudy read. She goes, my understudy? I didn't know you were my understudy. I've never seen you backstage, but I mean, there's so many people loitering around. Kind of hard to tell. Then she turns to Max again, just so he can get the full brunt of her anger. Max, you sly puss. I definitely kept my end of the bargain. I see you did too. She fell away. Bill knows it's about to be World War III. Eve begins to placate. Miss Channing, I'm so glad you didn't show up on time because had you showed up, I would have stopped. I know now I'm nowhere near worthy. Margot's like, oh, is that so? Because Addison said you was fired. It's all very awkward. But Lloyd is looking at her like he's just seen the sun for the first time. Bill looks unamused, just kind of waiting for this to be over, giving her full side eye. But this gives Margot yet another opportunity to go on about age in which he writes the actor. She goes, yeah, that's super revolutionary. You have a 24-year-old woman reading for a 20-year-old part. That is so wonderful. They get into a little bit of a tiff because she feels betrayed. I had to hear this from Addison before I had to hear it from anybody else. Now, truth be told, she was late. Had she been on time, this never would have happened. But it continues to go off. This time she don't try to have. This ain't the first time that Eve has seen her pop off. This ain't the first time that Bill has seen it. Bill is so unamused. He goes and lies down on the stage bed like a cigarette, pets the wooden dog. He lets Lloyd know, I am her. I will find another director. I will find another playwright. It pisses him off so bad he storms out of the theater. Eve just sort of moonwalks stage left, hides in the shadows because nobody wants it. Now you see the diva that is Margot. She's basically telling Lloyd that she could do his job. She rewrites and resets so much because she has to. It was just too much. She starts going off on Fabian. He threatens to sue her with lawyers and whatnot. It's just a big old mess. After Lloyd leaves, Eve turns on Bill, who is far better equipped at handling her moves, and she really, really lays into him. She feels betrayed, which I can totally see. She feels like this was a setup. How did I not know this girl was my understudy? Clearly, somebody was hiding her. Clearly, I was not meant to know that, and boom, she shows up out of nowhere, never reading before, never doing anything, putting on a tour de force performance, and I'm supposed to believe it was happenstance? No, this feels like a setup you will never convince me otherwise. Bill is now moved one way or another. He's like, girl, every time you get a little bit uncomfortable, you start lashing out at people, going on, being suspicious and being paranoid. It is ruining our relationship. Why don't you just calm down, snap out of it? She's like, no, I absolutely won't snap out of it. Matter of fact, I need to get to the bottom of how this girl became such a wonderful actress. No doubt she studied the hell out of me, and I'm sure she got a few notes from you. He flips her over on the stage bed and says, snap out of it. Grow up. Why do you act this way? This is just foolish. This girl idolizes you. She happens to be pretty good. She's not you. Let it go. But there's too many voices in Margot's head. Eventually, she calms down a little bit, and he does too. And he's like, listen, are you going to marry me? She tells him she doesn't want to marry. She doesn't want him to marry her just to prove a point. He tells her this is the last time. I told you last time that this was the last time I'm going to ask, so goodbye. As he's turning to leave, she turns and says, Bill, where are you going? Are you going to Eve? He's exasperated at this point, and by all intents and purposes, if you watch the film, he's never looking at Eve like that, not one time, and he's said it a million times. So as he walks away, he's like, yeah, that totally makes sense all of a sudden. And she's left there to sulk. She is potentially losing her role, and now she's losing Bill. Lloyd goes home, and he and Karen are talking ish about Margot and what an absolute child she's been for the past God knows how long. Lloyd tells Karen that Margot showed her entire backside, all up and down the theater. It was quite embarrassing. She was horrible. He was like, bad timing, but Karen has no choice but to remind him that they have a couples weekend with she and Bill starting tomorrow night. And he's like, well, I mean, we've done it before without talking. I don't think it'll be a problem. So he goes upstairs. Karen continues to paint downstairs when all of a sudden she's hit with some inspiration. As she puts it, this is her opportunity to give Margot the kick in the booty she's been wanting to for a very, very long time. I want to put her in her place. I want her to suffer just a little bit. And eventually, after some time, I'll tell her what I did and it'll be key funny. Well, the couples trips happen, only it's not a couples trip. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is Margot as a third wheel. She goes on the trip, but Bill doesn't. As they're coming home, they stay over the weekend, and it's Monday afternoon. Lloyd and Karen are taking Margot to the train station so that she can make it back to the theater in time for her Sunday or Monday night performance. Only Karen is well aware that that's not going to happen because she has siphoned the gas out of the automobile, leaving them stranded on the side of the road. Now, she kept it to herself, sort of, but she did go ahead and call Eve and let Eve know that she would be going on as the understudy. Well, once the car runs out of gas, Lloyd is very confused. He jumps out. He decides to walk about half a mile down the road to see if he can find help and or a gas station. In the car, Margot starts apologizing for acting like a child, and she explains that she's embarrassed by her behavior and she just wishes she knew herself. She doesn't know why she does these things. Karen is being a good friend, just listening. Margot continues to tell her that her whole insecurity about Eve isn't so much her age, it's just that she's so she's feminine, she's soft, she's gentle, she's not hardened, she's not jaded. And she wishes she was more like that. Like she can't figure out why she acts the way she does. And she loves Bill and she wants to be like this loving, soft place for him, but she's finding it hard to do. And Eve being around him just reminds Margot of all the things she's not. So she's extremely insecure about that. Not so much the age, but the innocence. I kind of suspected that. You know what I'm saying? Like she only brings up her age when they're talking about the plays or when they're no, that's literally the only time she brings up her age. And it's not so much that she feels that she is old, but she is having to play younger women. And it's like if you understand on a deeper level that she doesn't feel that sort of innocence, it's getting harder and harder to muster the older she gets and the farther away she gets from being just regular degular old Margot. She doesn't remember who regular degular non-starlet Margot is. And how could she? She's been a star since she's 4 years old. She then goes on to give this speech about what it means to be a woman. It's the biggest career any woman will ever have is learning to be a woman. And in her opinion, she feels like it's all for naught if you don't turn over and look at the person you love. Now Karen hears this and oh, Margot, Lord, I can't tell this woman that I siphoned the gas out of the tank. So she's about to cry, and I'm looking at her face, and it hits me. I'm like, oh my God, I know who that is. I know who that is. Is that the nun from Sister Act? The kind of tall one? And then I'm like, no, 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 that's not her. I don't mean no disrespect. It was just the way she was holding her mouth. I'm like, that could be her, but it's not. But then it hits me. I was like, I've seen this beautiful airbrush looking skin on Falcon the Crest. It is Anna Rossini. It's Karen. I'm like, oh my gosh. You were in an Oscar winning film up against Jane Wyman and she ran you off set. I could see why. Well, I can't really say why I don't know this woman from Adam, but wow. That just goes to show that's a heavy hitter. I can't believe they had people like that. But anyway, Karen feels awful. They obviously don't make it to the train station in time. Margot don't really seem all that bothered by it. Meanwhile, back in New York, we see Addison entering the theater. He explains to the audience that most people didn't want to see the play and Margot wasn't in it, but the people who stayed were blown away by Eve's performance. And as luck would have it, he received a call that afternoon to come and watch the play, as did several other publications in the area. So she had a stacked audience. Coincidence? I think not. Here is where we get to see the Sophie said the side of Eve and her true intentions. Bill is there because he didn't go on the trip. So as Addison is rounding a corner, he's about to go to Eve's dressing room when he overhears Bill's voice. So he uses his cane to push the door open so he can see and he can hear. He is making sure he has all the receipts for this tea. Eve is asking Bill, how did I do? He's like, you did really well. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit concerned. She's like, how could you have been concerned? He said, auditioning with one scene is one thing. Being in the play full force is totally another thing. Plus, he has eyes for Margot. Eve decides to hell with it. I already got the lead in the play, even if it's for a date. Let me go on and see if I can collect this here man. So she's like, Bill, I have been feeling you since day one. Since the day me and my McGruff the crime dog coat and fisherman's hat sat in that rickety old wicker chair over there and stared you down. Why don't you go ahead and take a chance on me? Bill is like, I'm not really feeling you. I mean, you're cute or whatever. However, I don't really like my women running up to me like that. I like to go after what I want, not the other way around. Well, he leaves and she is mortified. She's not only mortified, she's pissed. She's so pissed that she picks up this lace wig and tries to rip it apart. I was like, girl, that's a $500 wig. Are you serious? Well, Addison, like I said, has been quietly watching from the shadows, so he rat-a-tat-tats on the door and he walks in. Is he being messy? Maybe. Is he just curious? Either way, she flips the switch. This is the first time in the movie she's ever shown emotion. For real, for real. Not the crocodile tears, not the, oh, I'm so admiring of you. Addison comes in and he tries to make conversation. He's like, okay, well, you did really well today. As a matter of fact, I think you need to be a little bit cocky about how wonderful you were. This is a theater after all, and if you want to get ahead, you're going to have to be a little more bold. She's, oh no, I could never. I am simply a humble servant for Miss Margaret Channing. I simply got lucky. Addison is low-key enjoying it. So he starts to ask her questions. Oh my dear, so where did you first see Margot's play? In San Francisco, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, what else have you seen? She's starting to get nervous, and she goes, well, I listen. I'd love to stay and chat, but I need to go take a shower. He's like, oh, I'll wait. We're gonna go to dinner. Why don't you just leave the door cracked open and I can talk to you through the cracked door? He tells her that he's gonna write a column about her, and she's like, oh no, I'm not worthy. I'm not even worthy for a paragraph. Nonsense, my dear. I just need your backstory. Now, what did you say your husband's name was again? When were you married? And when did you start being obsessed with Margot? He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't really hear you. I'm going to turn on the shower. Bye. Well, turns out dinner is a little more than steak and lobster. Addison DeWitt goes home and writes a scathing review of Margot and this beautiful review of Eve, basically saying how refreshing it is that a woman who's actually 24 played a woman who's 24 instead of someone who's way too mature and has no memory of being young and fresh and exciting. The first time in years that he actually wanted to dance after seeing a play. Karen catches wind of this because she's going to this restaurant waiting on Margot, who's of course late. She runs into Eve and Addison. Addison tells Karen that Eve is on her way to talk to a Hollywood producer, only she don't really want to go to Hollywood like that. Karen is being real cool at first, like, girl, I heard you did so good at the play. I'm so proud of you. Addison goes, well, if Margot's not here now, she's going to be extra late. Why don't you read my column? So long story short, Karen runs immediately over to Margot. Margot is pissed as she reads his review. Bill also read it and runs over to the house. They make up. Karen goes home to talk to Lloyd, and Lloyd is also pissed. He's like, I can't even believe this dude wrote that about Margot. He's such a troublemaker, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe he twisted Eve's words the way he did. Karen goes, well, what makes you say that? Lloyd says, oh, well, you just missed Eve. She came over to apologize. She was too afraid to go see Margot, so she came to see me. Karen's starting to put 1, 2, and 3 together, and it is equaling Eve. She's like, wow, okay. I'm starting to see this. It was a total coincidence that all of the press was there. It was a total coincidence that Addison was there. It was total coincidence that Addison and she were at lunch today. This is all starting to smell a little funny. So as Lloyd is talking, he's like, hey, what do you think about this? Agent Wood is doing well. That's the play that Margot's in. What if we did my new play? What if we put that in the theater that Agent Wood is in and we put Agent Wood on the road? And Karen's like, and let me guess. We'll have someone younger and fresher play Cora. Lloyd's like, yeah, I was kind of thinking we could have Eve play Cora. She goes, oh, isn't that so sweet? Over my dead body, Lloyd. There's no way you're going to give that girl that part. Don't act like my girl Margot ain't that girl. Yes, she's a pain in the butt, but also she's that girl. She can be the pain in the butt because she's worth her weight in gold. He's like, it's just a thought. I mean, Eve didn't ask me about it. I came up with the idea all on my own. It is all very, very clear to Karen, who is a woman who understands the feminine wild, if you will. Oh, the girl she put it in your mind. She put the thought in your head. Now you think is your idea. You better not give her that part. That's all I know. Period. Lloyd is staying by the bell when Margot calls and invites Karen and Lloyd out to dinner after the play tonight. Like at 11:45 p.m. That is so East Coast crazy to eat that late. That's fun. That's cool. The night is young. Lloyd turns back to Karen and he's like, baby, I didn't promise her anything. Plus, I told her there was a little bit of a complication. You wanted Margot to play the part and I would never go against you. And she's like, you better believe it. Run all that by me every single time. So Later that night, they go out to dinner with Margot and Bill, and they are lovey-dovey. They're back to their true selves because they have decided they're going to get married, and they're actually asking Lloyd and Karen to be their witnesses as they join in holy matrimony. Everybody is toasting and having a good time. They're all on one accord when suddenly the waiter comes over and he drops a little note from Miss Karen. She is polite enough to open it and read it in front of everybody. And she's like, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. Girl, this is from E. She wants me to meet her in the bathroom. Like a good girlfriend, she passes a note right over to Margot, who continues to read it out loud for the table. And you can tell they're girls for real. They have already talked so much trash about Eve. Margot's like, girl, go in here and hit her upside the head with this bottle. Well, they look over, and even though Eve has already, I guess she put in her 2 weeks notice, she's no longer Margot's understudy. She still happens to be having dinner in the same restaurant that they're having dinner in at 11:45 at night with none other than Addison. The whole table immediately starts talking shit about them. And Margot's like, girl, go in the bathroom. Go see what she wants to say. Karen's like, I ain't trying to see her. Go see her. Please, 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 please. I'm begging you. I won't ask you for anything else. Just go see what she's got to say and then come back and tell her. Like, all right, girl, fine. So Karen goes into the bathroom and Eve is still regular old Eve. I'm so sorry to disrupt you. I'm so not worthy. I'm so humble. Please hear me out. But your husband told me that I couldn't have the role of Cora unless I had your approval. And I know that's not going to be a problem because if I don't get your approval, I'll be forced to tell your homegirl Margot that you siphoned the gas from your automobile and you are the reason I had my stage debut. I don't think that's going to go over well with her, do you? You know she's already paranoid about me, right? Karen is sick. Stomach dropped her. She literally is like, oh my God. She doesn't tell her yes. Finally, the mask is off. She gets to see the real Eve. Eve continues saying, Addison knows all about. Addison has already written something nasty about your girl. Imagine what he could do with this information he has about what you did to ruin your friend's night, to put me in the spotlight. What would the rest of the theater community think of you? Would you and your husband ever become trustworthy again? I think not. So I think it's in everyone's best interest that I get that part. Karen is gobsmacked. She's like, wow, you would really do that for this? He says, baby, you don't know the half of it. I'd do much, much more for this. Have a good night now, all right? Karen floats back to the table, sick to her stomach, no doubt, has a seat. And by the grace of God, Margot announces that she don't want to play Cora. She wants to be a housewife for a little bit. She wants to build this marriage with Bill and let her focus be on building a home together with him. Whew. Karen is so relieved she almost melts out of her seat. Thank God. The worst of it's over, right? Wrong. It appears that Eve is not only satisfied to get the part, she wants her husband too. So one night, Karen and Lloyd are in their bedroom in separate beds when the phone rings. There's some little girl on the phone saying, hey, I know you guys are Eve's friends. I'm her neighbor. You wouldn't know me, but she is hysterical. She's sick. She's hollering. She's crying. Do you think you could send your husband over here to talk to her? I think she's upset about the players. Well, Lloyd hops out of bed and does head over to go talk to this woman. And you see that Karen is like, damn, okay, now what do I do? Can I even say anything? If I say anything, is she going to say something to Addison about this? She's in a rock and a hard place. Eve is nowhere near the sweet and innocent, docile little fangirl that Karen thought she was. This little girl is a demon, and she's wreaking havoc on this woman's life. Eve is not only coming after her husband, but she's starting to come between Bill and Lloyd. They're fighting, they're arguing, and it's always about something over Eve. Karen clocks this, and she notices that this is the first time she's ever seen her husband, Lloyd, who is a playwright, interfere so heavily with the script, interfere with everything. If Bill says Eve moved to the left, Lloyd says Eve moved to the right. Then they have a big blowout. And of course, Eve is there to soothe the fool. So this midnight call and him running out the door is kind of the final nail in the coffin. There really isn't much Karen can do but hope and pray that her man ain't gonna be swept up under her feet. Luckily, there's more than one way to deal with Little Demon Girl. To quote great poet Dwayne Carter, aka Lil Wayne, okay, you're a goon, But what's a goon to a goblin? The biggest goblin, the biggest monster in this film, Addison DeWitt, has a plan all his own. If Eve is slick, Addison DeWitt is even slicker. If Eve is present, he's been there for days. That doesn't make sense, but make it make sense. You understand what I'm saying? I'd wondered why this man had been sprinkled just here and there throughout the film. I thought he was just stirring the pot. No, this man has been watching like a hawk from the very beginning. It seems very clear too. He likes a starlet. It could be that maybe he not necessarily had a thing for Margot, but he likes her star power and he sees something in Margot. I mean, Eve that reminds him of Margot's star power, but he also sees something that reminds him of himself. So one day they're on one of the little afternoon walks talking about her future, the theater, this new role she's going to play, and how it's going to add to the star power. He decides it's time that she find out that she's going to be his boo. He didn't tell her right away. He allows her to invite him into her brand new apartment. She's pouring drinks, and he's just sort of observing everything like, oh, I didn't know you had this set up. Because, well, Lloyd set it up. He likes to have drinks after sex. He's making it sound like this is her and Lloyd's little love nest. Addison plays along. He's like, oh, wow. She tells him that Lloyd is about to leave Karen for her. That's why they are having company tonight. That's why there is a wet bar for him to come over and be comfortable and have his drinks and whatnot. She is giddy. She is spilling her guts like she and Addison are old girlfriend, telling him Lloyd's going to write these plays for me and we're in love and he's leaving Karen. And we talked all night about it. We have all these plans. We're going to be married. It's going to be beautiful. Addison's like, in an unbelievable alliance, that sounds like a likely story. She says, no, I know likely story. It happened night before last. He came to me in the middle of the night. He needed me so bad he just couldn't be away. She is really selling this. So the reality is that night that her homegirl called, he did get up and go over there, but I don't know what happened. Let Addison DeWitt's nosy ass tell it. That ain't what happened at all. He's like, let me tell you something. I know one thing for certain, two things for sure. My name is not Boo Boo the Fool. And you are never going to be Mrs. Lloyd. She's taken aback. Like, what? Addison? Why are you saying that? He's like, I am Addison, mother loving DeWitt. I ain't nobody's fool, least of all yours. What you're not going to do is tell me this wolf ticket because I've got your number, sister. I know all about you. See, you and I are a lot alike. Only I'm better. He's like, I don't know what you're getting at. Can you just be blunt? Please just tell me what you need. She's like, okay, cool. He says, cool. If Lloyd leaves Karen, he is not leaving Karen for you. I know that for a fact because you are leaving here with me. You are going to be my boo. So you can't marry Lloyd. It's as simple as that. She's like, you and what army? Who's going to stop me? He actually said you will belong to me. It sounds a little bit more like ownership in a way. He tells her one more again, you're going to be mine. She cackles in his face and his 5 fingers meet her cheek at a very high velocity. He shakes her bangs loose. She tries to escort him out the door, and he's like, I'm also not leaving. You can close the door because I know all about your torrid little past, Gertrude. But I know all about your past. Yeah, you had poor parents, and your poor parents haven't heard from you in 3 years, girl. They're looking for you up and down, down and up. There was never any Eddie. You weren't even smart enough to come up with a last name. You did work at a brewery. A brewery, though. You worked so hard. You had your boss's wife follow you. She knew you was messing around with her man. He had to pay you off to leave. That's what happened. He was just like, oh my God. All of her hard work, all of her butt kissing, all of her boot licking has come to this moment. She almost got away with this. She almost okey-doked a playwright. She managed to ruin a friend group. Get the lead in a play. Have the nastiest man in New York on her side, helping her get parts, helping her get auditions in Hollywood, only to have it all crashing down because Addison DeWitt is a messy yeah. Y'all, she loses it. She crumbles. She breaks all the way down. Mascara running, acting a fool. She's not, and he's like, pull yourself together. You and me are just alike, and you finna be mine, period, point blank, or wash your face, put on something pretty, and prepare to be my puppet for the rest of your life. Or I'll put all your business in the street. Now, how did he come about all this information? Yes, he did his due diligence, but also the man happens to have a little bit of scruple. Apparently, earlier that afternoon, he had lunch with Karen. Karen told him all about how trifling Eve was, and he was offended that Eve tried to use his name to blackmail Karen. It's one thing to be messy. but he's messy to your face. You know what I'm saying? He's not messy behind your back. He'll play all that. He didn't know anything about the okey doke that Karen had pulled to have Eve take over Margot's spot that afternoon. Some might say that he has enough respect for the theater to want everything to be a little bit more organic, even though he knows it can be sort of a jungle. But either way, he got what he wanted. He has her exactly where he wants her to be. So, one of the final scenes, we are back where we are at the beginning. We are now watching Eve receive her reward, and you fully understand why everybody at the table is completely uninterested, looking all upside her head like, they all get it. Just 6 short months ago, this girl turned their world upside down. She gets up there and she continues to play the role she's been playing. Not one of Cora, not Margot's understudy. She continues to play the role of Eve, a humble and theater-loving, innocent 24-year-old woman who is gracious and joy-filled to just be in the presence of such greatness. Thank you all for this award. I want to thank personally Margot and Bill and Lloyd and Karen, my friends. All while her puppet master watches right alongside her table full of nemesis. It is the ultimate coup de grace. It is the ultimate knife twist. You want to act, chick? Okay, you're going to have to act for the rest of your freaking life. She also makes the announcement that she will be going to Hollywood for a month or so to shoot a film. But don't worry, theater. Theater guys, you guys are my first love. I will be back on the East Coast doing the absolute most as soon as possible. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. After the award ceremony, she hands not Max, what's her fool's name? She hands Addison that big heavy trophy. He's like, here, you take it. I'm not going to no party. I'm tired. He's like, fine, I'll take the reward. You go home. She goes home. She managed to get all the way into her luxury penthouse apartment. Kind of puts Alexis's apartment to shame a little bit. She goes in there. She starts pouring herself up a drink. She is none the wiser. There is some rando asleep in one of her fancy chairs. Turns around, drops her drink. What the hell are you doing here? The girl wakes up. She's like, please don't call the cops on me. I didn't steal nothing. You can pat me down. I promise I didn't take nothing. I'm just so obsessed with you. You're my favorite actress. I know everything about you. Dun, dun, dun. She is too tired to really care. The girl makes her a fresh drink. Someone knocks the door. The girl goes to answer it, and you quickly know how this is going to end. This movie could very well be The Twilight Zone. It was amazing. By the end, the last credit we get to see is this new rando in in Eve, aka Gertrude's fancy new bedroom, wearing her cape, holding her award, looking in one of those vanity stand-up mirrors at herself from all angles. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm going to say thank you one more time, Byron. When you said this was a ride of a movie, this was a ride. I don't know where I'm so glad I walked into this completely blind. I really thought that Betty Davis was going to be Eve and that it was about kind of like a foxy lady. I thought she was just some woman that everybody wanted. But this was so good. This was so good. And it does totally remind me of Single White Female. If you haven't seen that, brief synopsis. Bridget Fonda is a 20-something-year-old woman in New York. She needs a new roommate. This girl shows up. She's all nice at first. Slowly but surely, she starts absorbing her personality and her look. She cuts her hair. She dyes her hair. People are starting to mistake them for each other. It just gets creepier and creepier and weirder as time goes on. Oh, they obviously added murder because it was the 90s and like they needed it to be grimy. But this has been a wonderful film. It would be really, really easy to say that the theme here is be yourself or watch your back, but I think there's a lot to digest. Eve played a part. The question remains, did Eve study Margot so well that she was able to slip into her role as whoever? Was the whole reason for her shadowing her the way she was just so she could get the best part? I think yes and no, but I think it's deeper than that. She didn't just mimic this woman so that she could take over her career. She systematically isolated her from her friends. There's so much to like here. I love the character of Margot just being this fun, sort of brash, mildly paranoid person, but it turns out, girl, you needed to work through all that. Having Eve show up and just represent this innocence, this pure of heart, like I'm sure it reminded her of why she decided to go into acting. Probably not since she was 4. So let me retract that a little bit. It reminded her of how she felt about acting until all she could pretend to be was someone 20 years younger than herself. That sucks. That's hard, but I love that she's like, yo, what I really want is my man Bill. If you'll notice, Bill was the deciding factor which originally made her flip on Eve. She didn't see any of Eve's wrongdoing. She didn't think she was studying her. She thought she was just a beautiful child who admired her, and that admiration felt good. But then she started thinking to herself, dang, what if Bill admires her the way she admires me? That's a whole problem. Let me go ahead and interfere with that. Never mind the fact that she was upset that, what's his name, Max, kind of went behind her back and hired Eve. He didn't kind of, he definitely did. But it's like, girl, you were also playing a game. Was she wrong? No. Is it a little hypocritical? A little bit, but I'll allow it. Birdie and Bill, so much fun to watch. I love that they didn't flinch around Margot. They kept it 100 all the way through with her until she got some sense knocked into her. I'm so glad that this is a movie, and now I can kind of go and read the backstory about it a little bit. Because I'm very curious, the actress who played Eve and her choice to be this sort of robotic, it was almost creepy. I think with the right music, the right tones, it could have been a scarier movie if you really wanted it to be. Now, at first, it was difficult for me to see that because it is 1950, the whole studio training, and some actresses just act like that regardless. But she had this weird sort of control, this trance like control that was always just a little bit left of unnerving. All right, girl, I don't know. Eve, I need you to sit right in front of me. Let me keep an eye on you. And I love that she never actually showed any real raw emotion unless she was behind closed doors. We only saw it a few times. She totally flipped out when Bill rejected her, and then she totally flipped out again. Not when Addison slapped her. She held it together for that. But the minute he was like, I'm going to blow up your spot, she ran into that bedroom and just unleashed, freaked the F out. Addison might be the most interesting character. So I can admit the first go around, I didn't really pay much attention to him. I've watched it twice now. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to him. I thought he was just this snooty, pretentious theater critic. But the more I listened to him, the more I'm like, okay, perhaps he doesn't own Eve. He did. You belong to me is what he said to Eve. Not you finna be my boo. That is my modern interpretation of what I thought he was saying. You belong to me as in you're going to do exactly what I tell you to do or else. I stand by my original statement. He has such respect for Margot, and you know that because at the beginning of the film, before we know how anything is going to turn out, he talks about how Margot is the star. She's an ultimate star. It doesn't matter what else she does for the rest of her life. She will always be a superstar. My first go around, I was like, oh, dang, that's his boo. He wanted Eve all along. So he set up these situations to put her in the best light, make sure she gets the best, really befriended her so she'd let her guard down. And then he scooped her up when she wasn't paying attention, caught her slipping. I don't think that's what it is on the second go round. What I think has happened, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, especially those of you who've seen this movie many times before, or those of you who watch it for the first time before or after listening to this podcast. I think that he is so in love with the one thing in his life that nobody can take away, which is a theater. He already said he does not toil there. He's never going to be an actor. He's never going to be too old. He's never going to be too young. He has longevity in his career, but he definitely is protective of it. So what I took the first go around as him favoring Eve might have just been a ploy to get her to Hollywood the whole time. What changed my mind the second go round was not only listening to him slap the taste out of her mouth. He went from Timbuktu clear to Egypt, slapped all the audacity out this little girl. Proceeded to tell her about herself, what she was and what she wasn't going to do. And then sat at the award table with her enemies. with the people she screwed over. She can't go sit there. She's going to need to be separate from him, but she'll always have to be under his thumb. Also, when that little girl came in at the end, who was chilling in her apartment, she made a comment about how long Eve was going to be gone in LA. She seems like you're going to be gone a really long time based on how large that trunk is that you packed. I then started to take in Eve's attitude. She was really annoyed. She did not seem joyful at all that she'd won that award. So I'm like, was this Addison's play all along to get this girl who could be like Margot Channing at some point, but is not, out of the picture? It seems like there's a little tension. I'm not an actor. It is my observation that theater people seem to be a little bit more serious than movie people. And he felt like she is more of a television star versus a movie, like a movie star versus a theater star. That's my thought. I think his plan all along was to get her out of the picture because it seems like he really does respect Margot. Even though they go back and forth, even though he wrote that sort of scathing review, I think that was all a chess piece. He knew that would loosen Eve's lips. She would start talking a little more recklessly. I think this was his plan all along. Either way, fantastic. I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy that, and I thoroughly enjoyed Miss Betty Davis. I will definitely watch anything else she's in. That's 2 for 2. She gave a stellar. God, I loved her. And whatever happened to Baby Jane, she freaked me the hell out. I'm not gonna lie, that movie was good, good. I can't wait to watch that again. All right, guys, thank you so much for entertaining me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I love film as much as I love television, as much as I love books. So might mix it up from time to time. It'll also help me be a little more regular so I can put these episodes out a little closer together. I know they're getting further apart. Now, thank you for sticking with me. Join me next time as we jump back into some soap opera debauchery. We're going to head back down to Dallas and then round our way back up or west. I don't know yet. In the meantime, in between time, your friends close, your enemies closer, and your stay a week super fan on some sort of watch list. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome or welcome back to Soap Lore. I hope you are ready to continue our quest of dramatic arts through the Soap Lore Society for the Dramatic Arts, or whatever we should call it. Go ahead and reach out to your girl in the show notes or via email and let me know what you think. What's up, party people? Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. We're going to jump right back into my film review of All About Eve. Intriguing, hilarious, incredibly quotable, and possibly one of the best films I've seen all year. There's a lot to jump into this episode, so go ahead and pour yourself up something bubbly and bright. Well, maybe not bubbly this time. I do believe the beverage of this film is a martini. Pull it up, make yourself a cute little charcuterie board, and let's dive back into this film. Is it better to have an honest enemy or a fake friend? Are the two one and the same? I don't think they are. This portion of the film explores the nuances in everyone's relationship. How close are we all to losing it? Also, is admiration a form of flattery or is it a tool for domination? Either way, baby, we're going to have a good time. So buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride as we jump back into 1950s All About Eve.